Welcome to today's video. It was about time that I did a proper flip through of the books that I used last year. In the short term, I've been storing them in my 2025 Hobonichi box. I think something else that's worth me covering before we get too carried away is the lighting and stuff is quite different today from my previous videos, or it feels that way to me at least. My partner and I are moving house soon, and the room that I would normally film in, we're starting to fill with boxes ready for the move, just so we can actually use our house while we're in the process of moving. So everything is tidied away up there, and I've sort of set up a temporary desk in our dining room. So things might look a little bit different. I might change things like next week and the following week and so on, just to try and do what I can to carry on making videos while everything's a bit topsy-turvy. So bear with me, basically. So yeah, this is going to be a techo kaigi of my 2024 books. I made one like this at the beginning of last year, and I actually watched it back a few days ago. I don't normally look at my own videos, I film, edit, upload, and then I kind of forget that it exists. I don't necessarily like the sound of my own voice very much and stuff like that. So, but I thought it was worth watching that back, and it was interesting to see, what I'd thought about going into 2024, how I wanted to use my books, and then seeing what stuck and what didn't. So if anyone's interested, I'll put a card up for that video. But essentially, I wanted to do kind of a similar thing today. Let's have a look. So this video will cover the commonplace system / books that I worked with, but then also my daily sort of journaling. So let's grab everything. My main sort of go-to everyday journal book was the Hobonichi A6 avec. I'll just take this out now because I don't need that. And both books got quite chunky. I think I was more moderate in the first half of the year, and then in the second half of the year I started doing more collages and that sort of thing. So by the time it got to sort of November, December time, it was actually getting quite tricky to write in this book. So I'm not sure how chatty I'll be while I flip through things, but I think I'll just go through the pages, and then if I feel like there's anything of note to talk to you about, then I'll let you know. I think something that might just be worth covering in terms of the front covers here. We've got a few different stickers going on. We've got a couple of Megan ones here. This one is from Bodhi. His website's called Slow Quest. He does a lot of D&D associated items and art. And then this one is, I believe it's Dappled and Dot, who are based in the UK. And then this one is just from Sainsbury's as part of a children's activity pack. Got a couple of Megan stickers here, and then this is one of Noah's. I'll link Noah's shop in the description. And the tabs I used last year were, why can't I think of the name? They're from Helen's shop, but I can't think of the name at all. I'll put it on the screen. So let's start. So we've got a couple more stickers in here. Not going to go through every single sticker because the video would be 3 hours long if I did that. I've got a Hobonichi pocket in here. I think I tended to keep a gloomy in here, and would switch that out, which is something that I still do. More stickers. We've got this sort of 2024 year view. I put some dot stickers on here to help me differentiate between the different months and when those were coming to an end. We've got a Gloomy Kid here by Megan, the 2024 one, which is always good to have at the beginning of a book, kind of as a resolution message type of thing to carry you through, I guess might be the way to put it. And then these first few pages, the Calendex pages, I used for mood tracking. So I would generally go good, medium, bad, and then just a really short description of what I mean by that, with a bit of decoration in those top bits. I didn't fill it out for 7 because that's in this book here. Yeah, that's those, and then of course I didn't do it for the rest of the month because I was moving into here. I had printed off this little collage that I'd made for something else. I can't remember what it was, and it didn't quite look right, so I, rather than just throwing it away, I stuck it in here because I knew I wasn't going to be using these pages. I've got a key here that I went on to use in my calendar, and I still use in my current calendar as well, actually. So pale green for appointments, the darker green for social, and brown for tasks. These are Stalogy dot stickers. And then we've got my calendars that I'd always use as traditional calendars. I just feel like December is one of the best looking months in any journal I do because, you know, naturally you get like green and red and things like that. You get a nice cohesive colour scheme without having to think about it. And then on a similar sort of vein, I feel like my Januaries always look very similar. It's always very like monochrome, muted, calm, a bit less going on because I'm trying to sort of recover from December. February, March. I really liked how March came out. It's probably some of my favourite decoration in here. April, May. I like the May a lot as well. June, July. July looks... Oh yeah, I was going to say July looks really empty, but that's because I moved to this book in July. So yeah, I just use it very much as like a practical space. Did this bit of decoration just because I felt like doing some decoration one day. Turning the page to a new year. So at the beginning of 2024, I decided that this would be my TBR list. And I did not transfer it over to the second half of the book because I feel like this looks really messy. And it wasn't a great way for me to like track what I was reading anyway. And I feel like, yeah, I've actually gone on to read a number of these, but I've not finished that. I've not updated this list, so this is not something that I've repeated again. I'm not going to bother going through all that. January, so my typical layout at the beginning of each month is to make a little collage here. I use layout for it, and then sometimes some additional decoration elements as well. And what I started with at the beginning of the year was I would use these check boxes for like tracking the daily tasks that I pretty much always like need to get done. And then I'd have a to-do list in the left hand side. I'd have a short Dear Diary type of entry here, and then sometimes I'd stick in pictures. So for a number of months, that's what I went with in this book. And it's really neat looking. I like the way it looks on the page, although I think I generally prefer like when a page feels like really full. And so these, because the lists would obviously vary in length, there would often be this sort of blank space in the bottom corner here. Yeah, I'd occasionally bring in sort of junk from my day-to-day life as part of the decoration as well, but to begin with it was always really quite toned down. And I do like this in its way. I think if, for example, I was using like an A6 alongside my A5 book, the kind of like list approach and then like bullet points of what I've done each day is quite a nice simple way to get a daily overview. Something that was quite fun to add in, and it comes up a few times, is whenever we'd get fortune cookies, sticking those fortunes into the book. Got a couple of pictures here from my hike with my friend. I suppose the other thing to note as well is the pictures that I would stick in, I'd be using a thermal printer that I bought online, but because of the nature of that, it means that they do fade and sort of degrade a bit over time. I was fortunate to get for Christmas a proper mini printer. Is it handy? Yeah, I've not used it yet, but it's the Codex Mini 2 Retro. Yeah, I've not used it yet, but I'm looking forward to giving that a go when the opportunity rears its head. Occasionally I would use like a, not safety pin, paper clip to pin in one of these. I think this is probably one of my sort of favourite spreads from these first couple of months, using the pictures, some collaged and sort of layered elements in here, and then because of those pictures being in here, it pushes the to-do list down, which makes the page feel a bit more full. I would occasionally toy with tracking the weather in here, but it's very sporadic. And it's weird, half the time, you know, if ever I look at these older books, it's very rare that I read through the actual entry, but if I look at the decoration I've used, I just get a general sense of the vibe and what I did. So like here, for example, I stuck this in because it was Valentine's Day. I don't really celebrate Valentine's Day. We actually spent time with a couple of friends on this day. And it's written down here, but I see that picture and I think, oh yeah, we watched a film with our two friends. So like it evokes that memory straight away. This is a nice spread as well, I think. Now and again, my partner and I will write each other notes, so I've popped that in there. In Lancaster here. I like this little collage as well. It's an interesting kind of thing, singing, because in my head it feels like a bit of a split between this being my more like minimalist book and then the other one being a bit more decorative. But the seeds are already being sown in February about, you know, doing my little collages and layering stuff that now is pretty like standard in my daily spreads. March cover page, I'm starting to bring in some more like, yeah, elements of collage and layering stuff. I also did a bit of habit tracking. I think I set myself a goal in March to make art every single day. At the end of February, I left a job in quite a corporate environment, and that's when I started as like a full-time self-employed artist. So this was me helping me like discipline myself and make sure I was making art making like part of my routine and my like work day. Friend's wedding here. Visiting a sibling. I briefly took to, if I had a shorter entry, oh yeah, that is another change actually. So I went from doing the to-do list on the left and the daily entry on the right to just writing straight across the page. But then what I was finding is that my entries were often coming up a bit short. So I took to sort of drawing this line underneath just to help it feel a bit more neat, but I didn't really like these spreads very much. Looks like I briefly went back to doing that to-do list on the left here for a little bit. Yeah, it's sort of come back for a while, but it does drop again. And I'm starting to use like bigger pieces of decoration elements in here as well. Got a book that I finished listening to here, so something that I would often do, actually I was consistent doing, is whenever I'd finish a book I would stick in a picture of the book cover. I'm doing a similar-ish thing this year in the A5, but it's formatted a bit differently. Got a library receipt here, book I finished, and then we went to an arcade with some friends, so that's a picture from that. Made some pancakes. Another book I finished. I think around, yeah, mid to late March is when like I really started reading a lot and getting a lot out of that. I think I had a target last year for reading like 20 books, and I read 50 something, just because, you know, the nature of my work was much more flexible and I wasn't so tired at the end of the day, so I was able to enjoy reading a bit more. This is a nice spread here. April, and that mood board, so a little bit of layering again. Start getting into more and more of the sort of spooky decoration. It's one of those things where like I've always felt that inclination towards being like, you know, into my Halloween stuff year round, but I'd kind of held back, I think, at the beginning of the year from being too like full throttle with it. And then by the time the spring came round, I think it was like, yeah, I'm ready for Halloween now. This is a Lee Bardugo book, but you can't really see it anymore. You can just see very faintly the outline of the rabbit. Quite surprised how long I was still doing these to-do lists for on the left-hand side. Got a couple of pictures here from Ed Wood films, because I had a bit of a fixation with his films for, I don't know, a couple of weeks, maybe a month or so. Hirano, one of my first blind boxes that I got. Another book I finished. Lots of Yoshitomi Nara characters coming up. Lots of Gloomies, of course. Me setting up like this table actually. I started doing art markets in like April, May. So this was my first sort of trial run of how long it would take me to set the table up. Another book, my market. This is like a sample for, oh actually it was in the very beginning I used one of my sheets to cover up my address. I think one of the nicest sort of products I made last year is this sticker sheet. And I didn't actually end up using this illustration on it, but it's called Glimmers. And it was around this time that I was like formally confirmed as being autistic. And I was thinking about autistic glimmers and that idea. I think for me, like the sort of dichotomy or split of being in distress, meltdown state versus like euphoria and absolute joy. Although it's a black and white thing and you think that might appeal to me, I think in terms of like my well-being every day, looking out for glimmers as opposed to like joy is much more like attainable and sustainable. So it's like what little sensory moments scratch that itch in your brain, what really makes you feel glowy and warm. So that's kind of what I was trying to represent in this. So when I was drawing that, I sort of cut out sort of bigger sample sizes just to see how things might look. And this was one of the illustrations I did as a cinnamon roll. I didn't use it in the end, but it's nice to sort of see it in here. And I think something that I might want to document a bit more this year is like the progress of that creative work a bit more. You know, the finished work goes on my art Instagram account, but I don't really necessarily document the process very much. Going into May, things are feeling a bit more like cloudy and cozy in here, a little bit more spookiness sort of coming in. Yeah, I feel like I really got in touch with my interests a lot better last year. Oh yeah, so I sort of started changing things up a bit. So rather than putting in here the daily things that I knew I needed to keep on top of, like my vitamins, making sure that I moved, I changed it for a little bit to the idea of what my focus point was. So it's like working on a commission, going into the city. Not sure how long this lasted. Yeah, tying up loose ends, resting. And then I was back to the everyday needs sort of bit. That's a cute stamp. We went to see Tenacious D. Some more bits of decoration here. This is quite a nice spread, I think. A lot going on this one. I read a couple of books in quick succession, and then yeah, there's one of my Glimmers stickers. So maybe took what 2-3 weeks for that project to kind of come to fruition. Another one of them here. Skipped a page there. Got a quick note just sort of tacked in there. This is the trip to Sheffield where I got my field notes. This feels kind of messy, but never mind. Oh, another one of the Glimmer stickers. Yeah, I used them quite a bit in those first few months. more books. June, getting more into, yeah, like green and grey and the nice sensory colours. We took a trip to Wales. Oh yes, I think a lot of this was inspired by the fact that I knew I was going to Wales. We've got the woods, we've got the mountains, we've got a border collie here. Partner on the beach. Comfy clothes. Yeah, so this to-do list on the side thing, I thought I'd dropped it at some point in this first book, but seemingly not. It is a nice way of doing things. Another one of my glimmer stickers here. Reading a bunch of books again. Got Maisie the cat. It's nice, like, these are the more sort of summery stickers coming in, but it still feels like true to my aesthetic and what I like. It was really nice in like June, and I think in July I used some as well. Megan did like some summer stickers, which fit nicely, I think, with these layouts. And then, oh yeah, so these have got holes in. So partway through this, I think it was in like March or April, I got my first like ring binder, and I toyed with using that throughout the year. Again, I'll put a card up for one of the many videos where I talk about trying rings. It didn't work out in the end, so I think I must have just trimmed down this particular 2024 image from Megan and just stuck it in the back here, so I had it to refer to. My 100, so I use the My 100 as a poster tracker. This wouldn't be necessarily for like household necessities, but more the like, it was covered gifts. Oh, it does cover things like toiletries. So yeah, I think I must have used this for basically any post. I wasn't formally on a low buy, but with that change with my job, I thought it would be sensible to make sure I wasn't like overspending. I wasn't being super frivolous with purchases. And also, you know, that's something I always try and bear in mind in terms of like my environmental impact as well. I think I've got pages stuck together here. Oh yeah, okay, so on this page I've just stuck down some stickers because they were on like water bottles or old books, and I didn't want to lose them. I wanted to keep them in some way, but I didn't really have a proper place for them. And then I think, yeah, I've got the same sort of thing again here. Yeah, I've got Phoebe Bridges one here. And then, yeah, same again sort of thing there. So that's the first half of the year done. I've obviously not like flipped through it yet, but I think I like my book in the second half of the year more. I think I really, I wasn't so wedded to this structure on each page. It meant I decorated more and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to looking through this. So to start with, we've got a gloomy stuck in here. Normally I wouldn't glue these in because they're quite thick, but also I like having them on my desk and being able to put them in different books and keep them on display and that sort of thing. However, one day I was painting and I had this one out on display, and sometimes my hands, I like just lose grip of things that I'm holding. I break a lot of glasses and things like that because of this, and my hand just stopped working, and I dropped the paintbrush and some paint sort of, like splattered, and this was the casualty. So I didn't want to just throw it away or, anything like that. So it was a little bit worse for wear, but I thought actually I'll keep it in. And the text on it says, "I am safe and protected from harm. Chain letters, superstitions and ill intentions will not affect me. Fortune will be in my favour. Luck will look upon me." And I just like the idea, like for a long time, these A6 books I would carry with me pretty much everywhere. So it's almost like carrying around that good luck charm all the time. So that's front and centre. And then I've got a sticker here from Junebug. And then I've got a little collage here to sort of start the year. So a lot of it's, kind of the colours for the first first half of the second half of the year, so like August, September, October. A couple of spooky bits, some calm sensory bits as well. Got my name on a piece of paper here, so this is from a recent Etsy order that I placed, and I really like the way that the shop owner wrote my name, so I kept that. A sticker here from Choosing Keeping, which I acquired in December when I went down to London. Got another gleaming sticker here. Done the same thing with the year view here, and we've got another sticker here. I did the mood tracking again in the Calendex. It starts on the 6th on June here, but because I tracked that in here, I instead wrote like a bit of an intention, and then we've got the mood tracking as normal. In December, rather than the good, medium, bad and a bit of text, I tried to like give it a number rating instead. And I struggled to do it in reality. I mean, I think what's helpful to see is I was like mostly around the middle, fairly stable most of the time. So that's kind of helpful to see. But I went back to doing it the other way. I just realised that I've not done it for December. I'll just do these lines. I'm filming this on the 2nd of January, so there are some bits that I think I might find that are like incomplete from December. I mood track currently, and I normally do this with a ruler, but given that we're at the end of this book now and I'm not kind of needing to refer to it, I'm kind of fine with it being a bit messier. Yeah, things were a little bit all over the place in December. Another sort of sticker that didn't have a place but I wanted to keep. June is in here because I wanted to start the decoration, but I was still like referencing this book in June, so it's not very filled out. July, I tracked like the daily habits that I had in the check boxes at the top of the page. I tracked them here, but because they were on the calendar page, I tended to find that I wasn't referencing a lot, and I would maybe get a few days ahead of myself and have to kind of backfill it. But my memory's poor, so I was always sort of doing it as like a educated guess because I couldn't quite remember if I'd done everything or not. So it wasn't the most practical use of the space. Quite nice decoration here, but not much in here. I'd maybe, if I was doing this now, I'd maybe put something here, something down here, just to fill the space out a bit better. This is better, I think, but I think probably because I had quite a bit on. And then this is when I start making sure I have like the quote for the month here. And here I briefly had there are certain tasks that I try and do like once a month, so I kept those here briefly. September's quite cute. I'm fully embracing my readiness for Halloween. October, the decoration in here is not as nice as I'd hoped, and I've got like mid-month and I was a bit bummed out. There's some really strong bits here, but I don't like how I've done this. And these are a bit like meh, but it doesn't matter. It's fine. November, a bit quieter in terms of decorative bits, but I think that's because I had quite a bit on. December's cute. I'd maybe want more red in it. It's very, very green because of the stickers I use. Maybe I'd put something there if I was still actively working in it. Actually, just because I'm not working in it still doesn't mean I can't have something cute in this corner. Okay, I'll put something kind of fun here, I think. I made, for my art shop, I designed some greetings cards, and I bought some sort of silly stickers for the envelopes of those, but I bought more of the stickers than I needed, so I've got some of these slightly more daft stickers. So yeah, that's accented that page, kind of cute. And then we do have January in here. Decorated it a bit, used it as a bit of a practical space while I was still in this book, but now I'm working in the A5. Most of the information about January is now in there. Some of these sort of leftover stickers on the 10 page pages. I think realistically, it would have been nice to make like a mid-year mood board, and then I could compare that to like my beginning of the year one in here. But it's no big loss. I really like my July mood board. I feel like this is the sort of vibe and ambience that I want like throughout the year, but it worked nicely. I'm still doing the to-do list on the left and the Dear Diary entry on the right here. And if I remember right, I do really like these first few weeks. There's like a coziness to it. And even though it's like the middle of summer and I'm struggling with the heat and things like that, this summer we've just had wasn't as intense as the previous year, so I was managing-ish. I've got a border here. This is one of my other sticker sheets, like a Halloween based one, so that's nice to see. I can't remember how many of these are stuck in here, but Megan made some self-care checklists, and I had a brief thing of sticking them into my book at the beginning of the week and checking in, but because, you know, a chunk of the way through the book, I sometimes forget to flip back to it. What I found was, because I think at this point I was like quite committed to the rings, my sort of daily things that I try and keep on top of, I stopped writing them in this book, and it meant that I'd consistently have quite a bit of blank space up here. Sometimes I would decorate up into it, which would be a good way of kind of filling the space out better, but yeah, it always looks just a bit odd for me. Reading quite a bit over those last few days. Gone on a nice walk. And then I bring back these daily task things for a bit. August. So there's a lot of sort of forest scenes here, some museum and gallery shots, and then there's a tweet here that says, "No offense to August, but," and then it's a bunch of emojis like pumpkins and ghosts and falling leaves, because I was very ready for the autumn at this point. I'd sometimes use these stamps for the days of the week. That's something that like happens on and off throughout this book, and it's quite a nice way of doing things and showing what day of the week it is, because it's the Japanese editions of these books that I use. I quite like the decoration here. This sort of couple of days had a really like significant hyperfixation, probably like one of the worst bursts of it in my life, and it made me feel quite ill afterwards. So the decoration's crap, and I feel like, yeah, I just look at these pages and I think about that night, and I was like, oh gosh, like getting very focused on things is something that for me more often than not is like positive to neutral, but I felt the negativity of it on this particular day quite intensely, and I have like a internal response to seeing these pages because I'm thinking about that day. Then this is me like kind of recovering from that, so I've got this sticker that says "Try my best," and this ghost, because I often feel like that, you know, like here but not really here kind of feeling. Trip to London for my birthday. I feel like it's probably from this point onwards that I start doing lots more of the like sort of collage type of thing and layering the stickers more. I really like this sort of mood board for September, and I actually made a bigger version of this and turned it into a bookmark as well, which was nice. Few different stickers. My journal entries on these days are quite short. I'm using quite a bit of washi at the bottom, but this one, my hobonichi order for 2025 arrived because I've tacked that in. Yeah, and I've very much by this point, I can't remember actually how long it's been, dropped the whole, I think it must have been, yeah, tail end of August, dropped the to-do list and also dropped the like doing my key things that I wanted to cover in the top. Instead I switched out for writing Each morning I would do a journal, a tarot card pull, and I would write that card up here. Yeah, another nugget from my partner. Another fortune cookie, fortune here. The day we went to see Beetlejuice, and I had, I'd received like some, I think it was a Lush leaflet with the items that they had made as part of their like collaboration with the film. So I hung on to that bit of ephemera so I could put that in on the day that I saw the film. Skipped a few pages there. I ordered a Halloween advent calendar from the Haunts Curiosity Shop, and this was the label that was on the box, which is really cool. I really love the art style that the shop have. I think it's I think it's the husband of like the duo who does the illustrations. I might be wrong there, but I think that's right. And I just love the art style so much. October, really like this. This would be like, yeah, if every month could be October, I'd be quite happy. Using some additional stickers here as well, which is cute. I tried this approach where I would like lay down a bigger piece of paper and like ingratiate it with the page and, you know, like write on it and carry on to the normal lines. When I look at it like from further away, I quite like it, but it was a bit of a pain to do in the moment. Little note here from PJ. I like this collage where it's like across the page, but it does kind of mesh you up from a bulk point of view. But I do go on to do this a couple of times. I think this is definitely one of my favourites. Here's another one that I like a lot. This is when I got my little pop mark guy who's just here. Another nice little collage. Yeah, it seemed to be like October when I really came into my own with that. I tried, similar to a few pages ago, you know, sticking down these quite large pieces of paper, writing on them. Don't like this spread at all. It's quite cute. I like these couple of days a lot. I feel like this bit of collage is nice. And then we went up to Nottingham and we went to like a talk about the history of the National Justice Museum. And what's really cool for me is Ghost Files did an episode there that came out like a few weeks ago, and I'm like, oh my god, what if we were there around the same time as the Ghoul Boys? It was very exciting. This decoration's nice. Don't really like this, but it was, you know, I think it was good for me to start experimenting a bit with like a little bit of junk journaling, a bit of collage, but this item is just far too big for an A6 book. This is cute again, this bit of collage. And then we've got the wishing you a very gloomy Halloween. November's sheet mood board I quite like a lot. Things getting like darker and grayer, but that's cool. Really like this page, so I decided I'd take a picture of what my desk looked like. I was really pleased with how everything was turning out. I'd bought a new riser for my laptop, so I wasn't straining my neck as much, and then I've used these extra bits of ephemera just to help frame it, and similar sort of thing here. I've got some layering going on. This is another nice decoration element, I think. This is a nice layout as well, I think. Yeah, I definitely like the second half, the decoration of the second half of the year better. And I think using the rings and other books to do like my to-do list and the proper like planning freed me up a lot in this. So although the space isn't very big, being A6, I was able to utilise it more creatively, I think. I really like this spread as well. This one's quite cute too. Got a little bit of like, you know, festive feeling creeping in. It snowed on this day as well, so that definitely got me in the mood. Same again on these couple of days. Trip to Cambridge to see my friend. put my Christmas tree up on this day. Again, I tried this thing about putting down the big bit of paper. I should learn that lesson that I don't like how it looks. I don't know why I kept persisting with it. And then we go into December, and yeah, this mood board's lovely and definitely captured what I was trying to encapsulate the last few weeks. I really like this spread. I like the big letters. This is one of the times where adding a big piece of paper actually worked out, but that's because I didn't try and write on it afterwards. These are nice too. This is definitely a fun day because I've got all this ephemera from my trip to London. This little collage is cute too. Yeah, I feel like I like the book the more and more I go on. This decoration's nice. Went to see Paul McCartney. And these are the pages that I think you'll have seen me decorate in last week's video. So now they're all sort of filled out. I pretty much left the decoration alone because I was largely not at my desk and lacking time to sit with my books. But I think now and again there's extra bits that I have added in. The Christmas spread looks cute. I did add a little bit of decoration in here. So on the 27th we went to see a production of Christmas Carol and we saw it at the Rep in Birmingham, so that's why that's there. Oh, and I added a ghost in as well because obviously you get the 3 ghosts. So I wanted to make sure that before everybody, like in my locality, put their Christmas decorations away, that I took some pictures of people's outside decorations. So my partner and I went on a bit of a trail to seek out some of the best ones near to us so I could photograph them. So that's what these are. And then these are the last couple of days of the year. And then most of these are blank, but I used my 100 for post tracking again. And something I did the other day just to try and think about like how much am I spending each month and why. I've just done this red wiggly line at the end of each month to think about why I bought as much as I did in a particular month. Like, you know, December's quite good, but then November I bought quite a few things, and it's like, well, actually in November is when I did my Christmas shopping, so that kind of makes sense. And then I think the rest of this is blank. There might be some stickers. Yeah, my friend Charlotte got me this one, so that's there. Yeah, and that's that. So that is my hobonichi books from last year and how they've worked out. So I think I'm going to end this week's video here. I'll pick up with you next week about the commonplace books. I'm going to continue filming it today, but I think this is going to be long enough without getting into commonplace stuff. I hope you found that interesting. I always love looking back at people's books and also hearing about how they plan to change things in the future as well. So I'll leave it at that for now. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.